Okay, let's move on to the structure of the emails. Structure. How do you structure your emails? Let's hear it.
It depends. Like if I'm writing formal mail, then I will probably follow formal structure. If I'm writing mail to my relatives or friends, then I will follow informal structure.
Now, when we talk about the structure, let's talk about everything, whatever we include in that. Sometimes there are those taglines, right? Somebody sends us something and we just respond in 1 or 2 words. Let's look at this kind of mail also. So avoid email tags. Whether you know the person or you do not know the person, just avoid the email tag. Imagine somebody sends us something and we just say thank you. This is to be avoided. Because tomorrow if the person has to put thank you for what? This is definitely a better way of putting it. Thank you. Like I was just thinking of something, so this is what came to my mind. Thank you for accepting the invitation to attend the workshop on 13th August. Complete thing. Hope you received my message. Which one? Let's structure it properly. I hope you received my message regarding the webinar on 13th August. A proper sentence is needed. So even with the taglines, how we structure these taglines, we need to be careful. This is a business email. And at times in our business emails also we have these taglines. So that's why we should be careful about them. Now let's look at the email. When you write, salutation is needed. Salutation is needed. Now what salutation? Some people think at times in business emails we do come across that, oh, greeting is must, and then we have greetings from ABC company and then 3 exclamation marks after that. Why? In English, when we send a mail to somebody or when we write letter, anything, so dear Swin, so this itself is the greeting. You greet the other person this way. You need not write greetings of the day and all after this. That's not needed. It's a business email. Come to the point. And we can write, dear Rohan, dear Mr. Kumar, but we should not say dear Mr. Rohan. If Mr. has to be put, it should come before the surname, not before the first name. Like my name is Sunita Kadian, and if somebody addresses me as dear Mrs. Sunita, that's a wrong way. So Mr. or Mrs. should come before the surname. And of course, you should be clear about it, what the gender of the other person is. It's always better to write the first name then. So find out who the person is. In emails, we must, email etiquette says so. We must find out that. So dear Mr. Kumar, before the surname we put. You can also, and this is a bit more conventional, dear we put, but hello is pretty fine. Hello, Mr. Kumar. Hello, Rohan. Usually in the first mail, first business email that you send to somebody, you include the word dear. Later on, when you have more interaction with the same person, you can switch over to hello. That is also there. Hi, Rohan. See how the things move. You know the person pretty well, or you can just skip hi also then, Rohan. Within, like, internal emails are also there. You can just skip that. And the spelling of the name matters. Please be clear about that. The spelling of the name. Spelling of the name. Now, my name is Sunita. Spelling is Sunita. And if somebody writes Sunitha or Suneeta or SAN, whatever it may be, different names, then I'm definitely going to think the person has not bothered to find out about my name and has written this promotional mail to me. So these things do matter. Now, your first sentence in the email should convey what your business email or letter is about. I'm going to share 1 or 2 examples with you. The first sentence should convey that. The first sentence should not be a general one. You should not beat about the bush. You should just come to the point. Gone are the days when we used to write those things. This is to bring to your notice, or I have been thinking of this point to bring this point to your notice. for some days, and then you start writing about that now. Just come to the point and have different paragraphs for different points. That's what is needed. Another thing, when we talk about the structure of the email, another thing that we need to keep in mind is the CTA, what we call to action. What do you want the other person to do? What action do you want the other person to take in response to your email? Because email, why do we send emails to others? Either to inform people or to persuade people, or maybe to respond to their queries, or at times to answer to their complaints, or to complain about something. Now, if you want a response regarding anything within the organizations, when you want any work to be done, set a deadline. The biggest deadline is ASAP. You may understand ASAP. According to you, it may be the end of the day. But for the other person, ASAP may mean the end of the week also. So that may vary from person to person. So that's why we need to be very careful about this end of the day, or by when, by 2 p.m. or by the next day, whenever it is. So we be very careful, avoid abbreviations, avoid this ASAP, just avoid all the abbreviations. They may not be understood by the other person. And then of course, the conclusion. We'll talk about the meat of the email, what we include in between. These were the structure, the framing of the email. So when you end your email, when you conclude it, of course, that's CTA is a call to action. That is whatever you want the other person to do. That is there. After that, regards or sincerely, whatever you put. If you are sending a mail outside, it's better to put all such things like your designation, your phone number, the name of the organization. All these go together. It's always better. It's always better. You're sending a mail outside. Within the organization, not needed. Now, do these things confuse you? The CC, the BCC, the attachments? Anyone? So CC is what? CC is carbon copy. That's what it is. When do we include CC? Can anyone tell me, when do you include CC? Or when do you include, okay, Atul, you unmuted yourself. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, CC is actually when we want our mails to be seen. Like if you are sending mails to multiple people, then they can see that we have sent those mails to other people as well. That's CC, that's carbon copy. So BCC is blind carbon copy, which means that only if you're sending to multiple people, then the other addresses will not be visible to a particular person. He will see only his address. That is BCC actually.
All right. So that means everyone will not see everyone's address over there. And BCC, it's blind carbon copy. The other people will not come to know.
Yeah.
That mail has been sent. All right. And the attachments. What is it that we need to be careful about the attachments when we have to send the attachment somewhere? Yes, anyone? We all do send attachments along with our emails. So what's it that you need to be careful about?
Attachments, yeah. So you have to mention that you have attached something in your maybe somewhere in the mail. Yeah, perfect. Then they can understand that we have done. Otherwise, they may sometimes may not see that attachment.
Perfect, absolutely right. We need to mention that I'm attaching this. Or there are two attachments. One attachment you need to mention, and if it's a long attachment, what do we do with that then? We need to compress it.
Yeah, zip it, yes.
Okay, let's look at this structure. Now, both are fine. So some people at times worry about this also, whether each paragraph should start from the left-hand side or you leave some margin. So it's the same letter written two ways, same email, and both are fine. So here the first paragraph. In the first paragraph, you mention the reasons why you're writing. I agree that the product that the mobile phone that you purchased. Now look at this, what has happened over here. Do you see something wrong over here? When we dispatch a mail, we need to do something else also. Huh? I'll come to that. So this is the first paragraph. We have different points in different paragraphs. And then there is a last paragraph. Please contact me if you have further trouble. So one is we start each paragraph from the left-hand side. Second is we leave some gap. This is the first word is about to end and you start the next one. Here you leave one line gap before starting the next paragraph. So this is also correct. And what you see on the left-hand side is also correct. You can put yours sincerely. Now, when you write yours sincerely, regards, sincerely, if you write two words, warm regards, kind regards, all such words, the second one, of course, starts with a small letter. At the end, you do find this. But before sending it to someone, what should we do? You've structured it. Do you have any doubt regarding this? Anybody? But before I press that send button, I need to edit the email. So do you find something wrong over here? Anyone? Because sometimes we feel, oh, we've structured it, all paragraphs are in place, the salutation is there, the leave taking is there, everything is there, and we forget to edit at times. We just go through it once, edit it once, edit it the second time, be very sure. What is wrong in this email? Somewhere.
Yeah, the grammar, like the blue part, the first paragraph, right? The grammar is not correct. I agree that the product, that the mobile phone that you purchased from us, I agree that the product, that the mobile phone, something wrong there.
Something wrong here. You notice here, of course, the right-hand side is correct. So these are those few mistakes we can still make, and these matter. These definitely matter. So it's when you take care of the structure, also take care of these things. I'll just show you a few more examples of this kind. It's not just the structure, it's the grammar also, everything is, just look at the difference between the two. So left side, everything is all mixed in one paragraph, not clear, but there is more clarity if it is structured properly. If the content is structured properly, then there is more clarity in your message, which will give you better results. When it's structured properly, of course. Fine, good. 1 point we have. Anything else? Anybody?
Yeah, the sentences on the left side, the sentences are running continuously. There is no full stop, like there's continuous. So if the reader will get confused with that, actually. The right side, there is proper stoppage within sentences.
Fine. So we see that grammar is there.
Yeah.
So let's overlook the grammar part for the time being. Let's look at only the structure. And then we come to grammar after that. What else is missing over here? Do you notice, all of you? Here, this thing in between. Let me just use this. This is mentioned in between. So please cancel the above. And then anything else? Invoice number 1, this cannot be cleared. This is mentioned here. Anything else?
Proper spacing is not provided one after the other sentences.
Right, proper spacing is not there. Now, there are 2 instructions. We talk about call to action, how you should end your email, business email, how you need to end it. So 2 things mentioned over here. It cannot, like, please cancel the above, and then please correct the same. So it's asking him to correct invoice number 1 and cancel invoice number 3 and 4. Where should call to action be? Where should you include these things, what you want the other person to do? Whatever you want the other person to do, where should you include it? In between the mail, at the beginning of the mail, or at the end of the email?
End of the email.
At the end of the email. So these 2 points should be included at the end, like it's happened over here. Not in between. That's a big mistake. should not be included in between. So when we talk about the structure of the email, if points are needed, if points will give you more clarity, somewhere you need to enlist all the points, do that. And whatever you want the sender, whatever you want the recipient to do, whatever you want the other person to do, that should be mentioned at the end. It should not be mentioned in between. So now if you notice the difference between the two, here these 3 points have been mentioned clearly. 2 invoices, number 3 and 4 are pending as these invoices were raised before the goods were supplied. However, because of COVID, everything was closed and no consignment was received. Invoice number 1 cannot be cleared due to the wrong address mentioned on the invoice. So different points are in different paragraphs. Invoice number 2 is in process and the payment will be released by 15th April. And why do the points make sense over here? Because in the first paragraph, you mentioned this, the reasons for delay are given below. So when you mention anything of this kind, it's always better to enlist. And then you include this over here. Therefore, I request you to cancel invoices 3 and 4 and send invoice 1 again. Makes sense. This, of course, as you pointed out, there are grammatical mistakes over here. We cannot structure the sentences like this. So we need to take care of the structure of our sentences also. Not only the structure of the email, but also the structure of the sentences. And this requires practice. This requires a lot of practice. Like you practice, you get it corrected, you correct it yourself, you edit it once, twice, thrice. So initially, more effort is needed. After some time, you'll be able to do it faster.